So one of the things that we're doing right now, and we've done the last 2 years, is a 100-day burpee challenge. So if you know what a burpee is, you're jumping up in the air, you're dropping down to the floor, you're doing a push-up, and that's one. You do it all the way. You do it for however many reps that you need to do. But the progressive 100-day burpee challenge means you start at day one and you do one burpee, and then the next day is day two and you do two. We go all the way up to.
Yeah.
So it's you can see how fast that builds, and you can't miss a day, especially after day 20 or 30, because then, you have a ton of catch up and it sneaks up and gets you. That's another way that I push myself in the health bucket is I don't like to get behind. I like to do these challenges. I like to compete, and I like to, show my peers and folks around me that, yeah, I can hang and that I can push myself.
In this episode of The Wired Garage with Pops, Michael Alshouse jumps into 3 of the best parts of dad life: what's on the Traeger, how to stay healthy with young kids, and living and dying with your favorite teams. You'll hear real-world stories, simple routines you can actually stick to, and plenty of sports takes perfect for your next commuter cookout.
So going into the winter, I'm super happy to talk about smoking meat, being fit as a dad, and talking ball. So going off, we're just finishing the weekend of Ohio State, Michigan, right? So think about this. You got an entire Saturday to yourself. There's no kid events. They are with their friends, right? They're all doing their thing. Are you going to get behind the Traeger? Are you in the gym? Or are you going to be glued to the games?
I'm going to do all 3 of those things. I'm going to roll all of those into the same day, Brian, which is like my dream day. And first of all, my 2 girls are too young to be running off with friends. So this truly is a dream because it doesn't happen this way yet in my life. My girls are both under the age of 8. So everything is still chaperoned. I still drive them everywhere, activities galore. The weekend time is generally their time, but I wouldn't have it any other way right now. I've got plenty of time to get all this stuff back. But I will say, let's talk about that dream for a minute, because this is just going to take me to another place. I would start that day with an early morning workout. And that's one of my dad hacks. That's how I get my time in. So I do it to get some time to myself to start my day, because I feel like that just wires me differently. If I get a few minutes to myself before my kids take over the day with school or with whatever we've got to do once they wake up. So I do it just as much for the personal time, and I think the mental wiring time, as it is waking up my body and finding a time to actually get that exercise in. So the early morning workout is 100% part of that dream Saturday of, if I've got it to myself, I'm still doing it that way because I want to have time for these other activities that you just mentioned. So
Out of curiosity, what time in the morning is early morning?
I will start early morning workouts several days a week at 5:30.
See, still, I'm not the only one.
My body's ready to go. It's a struggle to get out of bed, but my body's amped for it. And because that time is mine, it's special and I find energy for it. So it's a mindset shift, but I've been doing this now for a couple of years and I'm there and I absolutely love it.
I mean, if there's coffee smell in the air, I might be able to drag myself out of bed. But y'all wake up so early.
And when you've got kids, especially like girls, all that energy, you look for time that's yours. And in the early morning, that's the only time you got. I got up at 5:30 again, and still used to laugh at me because I'd get up at 5:30, I'd let the dogs out, I'd get my coffee. It was just that quiet time. I could watch the TV show I'd want to watch. I could read my Bible if I wanted to. I can study for work. I could do whatever else I want to. I could send Steele emails when he used to work with me on what we're going to do this day and start working. Whatever I wanted to do. But that was my time. I didn't work
it's
out.
weird.
Said.
The timestamp on those emails said 4 a.m. for some reason.
Okay, for your day, Michael. Sorry.
Well, yes, let's get back to my dream day. So I think shortly after that workout, I'm immediately getting that Traeger prepped and I'm getting my meat ready because a good cook is going to take, somewhere between 4 to 8 hours.
Mhm.
And if I want to enjoy that cook with my family later in the day, I want to get that thing started early. And there's nothing better than a Traeger warming up and smoking full tilt first thing in the morning, and you get that pellet smell going. It's just one of my favorite things.
So if that's is that in the morning? You got it going, right? You're getting it going.
This is in the morning.
Is
Yep.
there beer or bourbon going early in the morning with that while you're trimming that meat up?
Generally not. I'm a later in the day guy, and once the
Okay.
football games are going, we'll get I'll get a drink going. No, I do enjoy a good old fashioned, which is my favorite drink to have in the afternoons.
Okay. Yeah.
That'll generally be while the meat's finishing up. So this is kind of mid to late afternoon. I'm generally not putting down a whole lot before that, and because I want my energy to stay high. My energy will dip in a hurry, especially if
Yeah.
I have something as strong as an old fashioned.
Okay.
But getting that smoker prepped early, getting the pulled pork or the spatchcock chicken or the beer can chicken or the rack of ribs, whatever it is that I'm prepping to get on that grill, that's going on right after that workout's done because I want to put the grill on a very low temperature and I want to cook that meat really, really slow. And I want to time it up so it's done mid to late afternoon.
Okay.
And for those of us who have no idea what a Traeger is, for smoking meat, I'm gathering from this. And so 4 to 8 hours, what are you cooking in that 4 to 8 hour span? And have you cooked anything longer than that? What was the longest you've ever had to nurse something?
Pulled pork is the longest that I have ever cooked anything on my Traeger. I've got a lot of friends that do brisket, and it takes longer than 8 hours for a good brisket. I actually haven't gotten down that road yet, and it is one of my next adventures that I plan to go down. I really want to do that. But yeah, it's typically for me pulled pork. It's a special type of chicken. I mentioned spatchcock style. I mentioned a beer can chicken. I do really enjoy doing ribs on my smoker because I just love the way that it tastes. So yeah, for those that are not as familiar with smoking meat or with smoker grills, your wood burning pellets that give off this special aroma, this special flavor that is circulating throughout your grill that gives it the smokiness it's a fantastic flavor, not just to breathe in, but also to eat. So it's soaking into that food the entire time it's cooking. So it's a fantastic cooking style. And I enjoy it because the Traeger makes it super easy. I can put meat on there. I can trim the fat. I can season it. I can wrap it. And I put a digital thermometer in there. It sits and I can monitor the temperature for those 4 to 8 hours. Typically, there's some steps to either pull it off, check on it, re-season it, put it back on. But it's very, very easy to do with the digital thermometer. And then it turns into a fantastic product.
So, do you have something that you're well known for, or if you're hosting folks at your home, that it's your go-to to cook on the Traeger?
Well, I did a turkey for Thanksgiving, not this year, it was last year. And I'm having my family over for Christmas. And I'm planning to do another good turkey for Christmas time. Oh, I wouldn't say it's my go-to yet or I'm famous for it, but it's what I would want to be known for. That's what I would like to be my signature. Because I
It's tough
love a
cooking
good turkey.
turkey. That major props. I will have to get around to cooking uh at one at one time because I would love to. I love making wings. It's my favorite thing to cook.
Yeah.
A little bit of a connoisseur when it comes to wings. I would love to be able to do that with a smoker because smoked wings just bees knees.
Talking about smoked wings, let's do a quick hit lightning round here. This is a smoke it or don't smoke it. Ready?
Mm,
Wings,
smoke it.
mac and cheese,
Ooh, don't smoke it.
meatloaf,
Yes, definitely. I've done that.
salmon.
No, not for me.
I've done salmon before. Had to watch it. Had to pay attention to it. Dessert items. Anything like desserts.
It's an interesting one. I'd like to try. I haven't. I love traditional desserts so much. I'd be afraid to screw it up, but I bet you I'll get there at some point. I will try it.
A lean burger or chop?
No, if it's pretty lean, then I'm going fast. I'm probably zapping on a propane.
All right, last one's like a flaky whitefish. You said no to salmon, she'll probably say no to it. Like a tilapia, something like that.
I want to say yes to that
Would
because
you?
I would. I would try, and I haven't, but it actually sounds like it'd be pretty good.
Maybe put it on a cedar wood plank or something. I don't know.
Mm.
See, dessert and wings to me are the same thing. What about hot sauces? I'm assuming you've got barbecue down, but do you enjoy the heat?
Not a big heat guy. I never started that way as a kid. I never really got indoctrinated with hot sauce. I can handle some spice, but I just don't really enjoy the flavor that much. I'd much rather have a smoky or sweet barbecue sauce that I lather on, the ribs or the pork or the chicken, whatever I'm cooking.
I 5 years old for me. I was in wings right away. I made salmon yesterday and I poured Anchor Bar wing sauce all over it. Don't judge me. So
I used to go on vacations, and my kids used to make fun of me. I would go and look at hot sauce stores, like in Gatlinburg and things. And they say, "Why are you in here, Dad? I got to bring back some hot sauce for Steel." And I'd
yep.
bring him back and or ship him back some hot sauces and try to find some as hot as I can find it and send them back to him.
Yeah, if you're familiar Scoville units, I think Brian Flashbang that was you, I believe. I'm pretty sure you sent me Flashbang. It was like 3 million on Scoville units. Frank's hot sauce is 1,500. About
I had to
to
sign my name to something to give, like I was giving up my
yeah.
rights, trying to eat, and I ship it to you. So yeah.
Yeah, and then I remember the skull one full of hot sauce.
All right, moving
So
from hot sauce to health. Go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, we'll have to get into health. I should probably cut down on my hot sauce. So what would you say is a normal weekday for you as a dad? Do you keep that early morning workout through the whole week? Do you change anything in that routine?
Um, it's a couple of days out of the week for me. 2 or 3 days is that early routine. I don't do it every single day because I've noticed that I do need some recovery days. My body does need to recover. But what I will say about health on days that I'm not up that early is, and my company, my IT integrator group, we're only about 35 people in total with the company. There's a group of about 7 or 8 of us that are very regular on workout challenges. So one of the things that we're doing right now, and we've done the last 2 years, is a 100-day burpee challenge. So if you know what a burpee is, you're jumping up in the air, you're dropping down to the floor, you're doing a push up, and that's one. You do it all the way. You do it for however many reps that you need to do. But the progressive 100-day burpee challenge means you start at day one and you do one burpee, and then the next day is day two and you do two. We go all the way up to.
Yeah.
So it's you can see how fast that builds, and you can't miss a day, especially after day 20 or 30, because then you have a ton of catch up, and it sneaks up and gets you. That's another way that I push myself in the health bucket. Is I don't like to get behind. I like to do these challenges. I like to compete, and I like to, show my peers and folks around me that, yeah, I can hang and that I can push myself. So that's another way on the health side of things to keep it in check.
Almost like a round table, but for health.
Yeah, each day that we all finish our burpees, and there's a broader group than just Biteworks folks that do this. There's about 15 of us or 20 of us in total that do it, and we all message each other every single day in a text thread once we're done for the day.
Accountability. I like it.
Yeah, a lot of kind of accountability. We do rotating videos to prove that you've actually done it. And a lot of the time you do this, late at night, which is what I'll be doing when we're done here because I haven't done my burpees yet today. But it's holding yourself to something that you've committed to, and you can't get out of it no matter how tired you are or where you're at.
What day are you on?
Today is day 70.
Man, okay.
It's a heavy day, but once you get into the routine of it, 70 doesn't take as long as you think.
I'm tired just thinking about it. What fitness expectations did you have before kids that you may have had to alter or abandon, if any?
I'd say that it's okay to have days off. I didn't used to like having any days where I didn't do something physical. Now priorities are different. My days are different. You asked about a typical day, and the way I look at my day is after work is over in the afternoon, like that's my family time. And I don't touch that. That is very sacred for me. That used to be my most common time to get my energy out from the day and work out before I had a family. That was my health time. And that was, I think, my mental unwinding. And now I've shifted that forward and do a lot of that in the morning because that time to me is so special in the late afternoon, before dinner time. So expectations have certainly shifted. It's okay to have an off day. I realize that if I do those early morning wake ups every single day and I'm, still staying up at night at the normal time, my body does get worn down and I don't come to the day with the same level of energy that I would like to. So managing my body throughout the week is a really important thing to me because I don't want to get to Friday and just be totally gassed and feel like I have nothing left once the work week is over. Because in reality, I still have a couple of family days that are extremely important to me. So I want to have some energy left in the tank for that.
Oh, it's incredibly important.
So what happens outside the gym, like sleep, food, stuff like that, screen time, move the needle the most for you?
Well, move the needle in terms of what do I feel like is the most healthy for me or what I get the most out of? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, what you get the most out of.
Yeah, I would say family dinner time is a
There you
big
go. Yeah,
energy gainer for me. I think we all have things in our day that suck energy and we have things that take our energy up.
you gotta value that, man.
Yeah, I'd say that when I get home a lot of nights, I do work in an office most days or in the field with customers or go do conferences, do events, those types of things. But when I get home, I'd say a lot of those things throughout the day suck that energy out. But when I get home and I do a little dinner prep, or if my wife's already got dinner made for us and we sit down and we start getting into our days and we do this thing with my family that we call rose and thorn. It's our family routine during dinner time. And we all have to say, what's a rose from the day? So what's a good thing that happened?
Oh,
And
wow.
what's a thorn? What's a bad thing that happened?
That's great.
It opens up the conversation. And that's something I get a lot out of. And we
Yeah.
hold very dearly at the age where we're at, where we can still get away with doing family dinners every night. I know it's not going to be that way forever. And I'm at a stage in my position, my role, where I really cherish being at home and I don't have to be on the road on multiple days of the week and I can do family dinners most nights. So that's a big one for me.
Another round table.
Yeah, another round table. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to say, when I was raising the girls, and I have to say, my wife, now looking back on it, my wife did most of the raising because, the travel I had, with working at a law firm and everything else and the offices, and I miss the noise. You know, there's times I've called up my daughters couple times, two of them are married, one of them isn't. And I would say, tell your husbands, your dad needs you to come home and just sleep in your own bed at home. Your dad needs you here. I just
Yeah.
needed her to wake up here. I just needed that noise here and again. And my wife and I love each other to death, but it's just there's a missing piece.
Yeah.
We're used to all the noise, the chaos, the things I used to yell at them about, get up, or clean up your room, or get ready for school, or, now I look back and say, man, I wish those days were back again. Because now I got grandkids, hopefully that it will fill that a little bit, but the time goes so fast. It goes so fast. And what you're doing at the dinner table, dinner time, that's value right there.
That's great. That's great perspective. I love hearing you say that, Brian, because I get goosebumps thinking about it, of the days where all this stuff is over and I go to bed some nights and I'm angry or stressed out or just not feeling good about how some things go before bed and just wanting to rush through it or wanting to get it done. And then I have the time back to myself and I sit there and think, man, well, I'm going to miss this like crazy when this is done.
Well,
I don't want to rush through this. I want to battle through those emotions and be present for it and make the most of it, because I know it's going to be gone.
well, you go through that. You go through the motions of, am I even raising them to be the right people? Am I failing at, raising them, kind of a thing, because of all the different things they're challenged with. We didn't have the challenges back in the day that they had, or they have today, with technology and social media and the pressures mentally. We had physical problems when we were growing up. We didn't have mental issues or challenges like they do
Right.
today. And so, I always doubted, am I a good parent? And all these different things. And then all that comes to fruition that wedding day, especially with you having two daughters. The day you give your daughter away, it's like all that comes around to this. It's a good and bad thing, right? It's a good because I think I did the right thing. Look at all this. And it's a bad thing. Say, oh my gosh, my life is going to change. She's not going to be under my house no more. No, it's just a lot of things that happen there. So
Yeah.
kudos to you for being a dad, a true girl dad. You're there and you're listening and you're at the tables.
Yep. Yep. Thanks for that.
You touched upon this,
I
but
lost your,
maybe there's
I lost.
oh, so I'll try that again. How do you handle the guilt of the tug of war between I should be with the kids and I should take care of my health or do X, Y, and Z? I think you talked about this a little bit. I don't know if you want to add any additional insight. I think what I took away from what you've described so far is balance. You have to create some sort of balance in your life between the things that give you energy and the things that take away energy and kind of plan accordingly, plan your day accordingly.
Yeah. The only thing I would add to that is that the fitness component, the health piece has become part of our family fabric. I mean, my kids play sports. They go on walks with my wife and I. We do some physical things together. Like my daughters are really into yoga at school, and we'll do some of that together. So the theme I'm getting at here is that we do a lot of it together as a family too. So it's not just do I go be fit or do I be a dad? I actually make a lot of those things happen together. And my kids like 5Ks. They love doing turkey trots. We do a race around Christmas time together every single year. That's a 3-miler. And both of my girls can run those 3 miles. They take breaks and, we got to walk for part of it. But it's really become part of our family DNA together. So we do a lot of physical active things together. So I don't always have to make that sacrifice.
Eating chicken wings is physical for me. So I would last one for you. Let's take myself for example. I don't do too much that is physical right now. If I'm looking to get started, or somebody is looking to get started in kind of changing their health story, what would you recommend?
I'd say start small. Don't get drastic overnight and try and cut out everything from your diet and get up at 4 a.m. and work out every single day. Maybe pick from a dietary standpoint something small. It's a vegetable every day or something that's easy and doable, and then build on it from there. Same thing with a workout. It doesn't need to be 5 days a week to start. It's 1 or 2 days, and if it's not 4 a.m., maybe it's 6, something like that. So the other thing I'd say is find somebody that can hold you accountable. I think having a workout buddy, it doesn't need to be somebody that does it with you every day, but it's somebody that checks on you and is actually finding out if you did it or not. I find I let myself off the hook a lot easier than other people will. So those early morning workouts is with a friend. It's with a workout buddy. And if I didn't have that other person there pushing me and picking me up in the morning, or me going to their house to pick them up to go do it, I know a lot of the days it wouldn't happen. So the accountability with one other person, I think, is huge.
And start at noon. Got it.
All right, switching off to sports. Who's your favorite college football team?
Ohio State Buckeyes, period. No question.
I don't even have to ask you why, because everyone will know why. It's just because. All right. Who's your favorite NFL team?
It is the Minnesota Vikings, because I grew up a Vikings fan and I was a young football fan when I grew up in Minnesota. So it's painful this season. It's painful a lot of seasons, but it's in my blood and it doesn't come out.
It's up in Steel's country.
How many times do you have to go to the Super Bowl before you can bring it home? Yeah, I'm from Minnesota, so I feel ya. I'm actually a Packers fan.
That's not okay with me. That's the rival. That's the one that I don't like at all.
Yeah,
Story
my
about something new
parents
to
are
me about.
massive Vikings fans, so I give them just as much as they give me.
Well, and I won't dog on my Ohio heritage here, because unfortunately I've got the Browns in me too. And after I lived in Minnesota and I spent some years learning the game and getting hooked on football. Then I moved to Cleveland, and then everything went even further downhill.
Well, you're not wrong.
I can't get that out of my DNA either. And I have a very good friend that works in the Browns organization. All my family is Browns fans. My wife's family's in Ohio. You just can't get away from it no matter how bad you want to.
You're not gonna like my choice at all. So I grew up. I'll tell you a story. I grew up in the '70s. So, and I lived in Dayton, Ohio. So I am a Steelers fan. I
I
am.
thought I heard you say that. That does hurt. That hurts the soul. Packers and Steelers. I mean, could we have planned this any better?
I
I mean,
know.
literal arch rivals of both of the teams that I just mentioned.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So,
And
so
I get
I worked at a
Packers.
law firm that represented the Bengals, and each year they would do the draft, pre-draft with about the Bengals, and they would bring in somebody who would talk about the director of player personnel, and talk to the partners about who they're going to draft that year, and just give them like a little dog and pony show in a sense of what's going on in that event that year. And I was the CIO of that firm, and they would bring me in to do the AV. The CIO doesn't do the AV for events for most cases, but they
Right.
wanted me to do the AV for that event. They would bring me in and they would say, "Oh, wait a minute, you're a Steelers fan. You need to leave now." "Oh no, come back, we're having it." And they would just bring me in and kick me out, bring me in and kick me out, just to make fun of me every year. But
Oh, that's funny.
yeah, but it was the '70s, right? It was the Steelers, Jack Lambert, Jack Ham, Terry Bradshaw, Super Bowl days. It was We Are Family, Willie Stargell, Dave Parker, and all them guys with the Pittsburgh Pirates, and I was a Penguins fan too. So,
Okay. All right.
all right, college hoops.
Mm,
Who do you like?
love that topic. I am a Buckeye fan in college basketball as well, but I got to admit, I was born in the South. I was actually born in North Carolina. So before I moved to Minnesota and found football, and that became a passion, and then over to Ohio and started watching college football, I was a Tar Heel fan growing up, because that's where I was born, and I was born in the middle of it. And basketball starts real young in that state. So North Carolina Tar Heel basketball is what I love. The ACC basketball is very controversial. Most people disagree with me, and I don't care. I enjoy college basketball more than I enjoy college football. So that's a big statement, especially for somebody living in the South in Atlanta, Georgia. But that's where it is for me.
I'm a huge Tar Heel fan, and I got to see them
Wow,
play
that's
at
amazing.
Butler University in Indiana one year at Hinkle Fieldhouse,
Well, that's cool.
which is an old storied field house to begin with.
Yeah.
And it was back when Montross and George Lynch and all of them were playing. And the bus we were in the will call line with a friend, and the bus pulls up, and here they come out of the bus, and they actually put their hands on my friend and I and separated my friend and I and walked through. And we get on our knees, "We're not worthy," and just
Oh
doing
my
it.
gosh.
It was just great. I mean, it was a beautiful place to watch the basketball game. I mean, it's one place I get to see him play, but there's no better. But UD Arena is also a good place to watch basketball if everyone's ever been there.
Yeah.
Uh, it's just small enough that you really and no matter where you're at, it's a good
Yeah.
seat.
Yeah.
But that field house at Butler is just a beautiful place to watch basketball. But
That
yeah,
sounds
I'm a
really
big,
cool. Never been. What my ultimate is, the Holy Grail is the Duke North Carolina game and getting to
yeah.
one of those live. I've got to do it. And I have not yet, but it's a bucket list thing for me.
I had friends who grew up in that area, and they moved into Ohio, and they would go back home. I think it was Duke, not North Carolina. They'll allow people off the street to go watch their practices and like go into the gym,
Didn't know that.
but just different things like that. But they're not that far away from each other. But it's just a great area, Tobacco Road,
Yeah.
right? Just for basketball.
Yeah, that was the area that I was born, and I lived the first couple of years of my life, and I've just never been able to pull that out. I looked at a lot of Carolina area colleges back when I was growing up in Ohio. I just
Yeah.
always had passion for it. I still see myself moving over to that area at some point out of busy Atlanta. So I've always just had a pull to that part of the country.
That'd be my retirement area. That's God's country right there.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it.
I feel like I'm following in your footsteps a little bit. Maybe the order's a little backwards. Started in Minnesota, went to Ohio, currently in North Carolina,
No way.
but
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
live in Ohio. Yeah, that's
Cool.
that's wild. Small world.
Very cool.
So right now, which is better on a Saturday, wall-to-wall college football or March Madness?
Nothing beats March Madness for me. I do get into the craziness of college football. I think the rankings get overhyped to me and it gets too crowded and the arguments get stale. I like that in college basketball you just play and there's not as much talking. There's so many games that I think the rankings fall out where they should and you don't have to argue
Mhm.
for 4 weeks about who's number 1 in the country. All the playing does the talking and March Madness takes the cake.
Yeah, I love the upsets too. It's just so fun to watch.
You do the do you do the brackets
Always got to do
always?
it every year.
What's your best score? Like how many brackets do you get?
Not very strong. I never win those brackets. And I feel like the people that do win are the people that don't know anything about college basketball. And it's, my mom or my
Yeah, my
wife or
daughter won
somebody
one.
that knows nothing. And it's based on the
Yeah.
mascots or the colors of the jerseys.
Yep.
So I have the passion, but I don't have the skill.
Sounds like a lot of luck involved there.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So knowing Ohio State and now being down in Atlanta and SEC country, one thing to fix about college football would it be realignment because of how everything's become part of the Big Four? Would it be NIL? Would it be the playoffs or would it be the refs? What would you change first?
I would change the NIL madness. I can't stand what college sports has turned into. I see it from a, leveling of the playing field. A lot of schools can now get talent in places that they previously would not have had talent. But I think it's ruining college life for a lot of these kids. I think it's opening doors that shouldn't be open, and it's allowing kids to decommit and walk away from what that part of their life really should be about, which is really education and college experience, making friends, living on your own, maturing, developing. I think everything has become very one-dimensional when it comes to college sports now, which is all about the money and just the sport. And all those kids are missing out on the bigger picture.
Okay. Is the NFL now more fun with all the offense or do you miss the more physical era?
I'm a new age guy. I love all the offense. I think it's so much fun to watch today's NFL. I think there was a lot to be said for the rough physical days of really strong defenses, but I think it's just great TV. It's just fantastic to watch these offenses put up points and receivers make amazing catches. The running backs rip off long runs. I think the offensive era now is the more fun stuff.
Yeah, I see some protection of the quarterback a little bit. I see the helmet to helmet being a protection that probably should stay, but there's nothing like seeing some of the hits that, Jack Lambert used to put on people, lifting them
Oh,
up.
especially as a Steelers fan, I could see where you're coming from with that.
Yeah, and I think it was 2008 is where a lot of these rules came from. They took that defense and just parsed it apart and said, we don't want this no more, this no more, this no more, and things like that. And James Harrison, I think he got called for, I think it was his old college roommate. I can't remember his name now. He's from the Browns. Took him and drove him in the ground. And there's a Sports Illustrated picture, and he says that's not the way the picture should have been. The picture was altered or something. But they ended up fining him $75,000 for the hit later. And he had to go see the NFL commissioner, and he asked him about it. And he goes, "Why are you fining me $75,000? If I knew you want to fine me $75,000, I wouldn't have hit him with 30% of my power. I would have hit him with 100%. I would have made it worth it." But I like the hits, but I really don't want guys having brain damage because these guys are bigger, stronger, and they know how to hit. The mechanics and the coaching is so much different than it was back in the 60s and 70s.
Mhm.
It was just raw play back then. Now they're teaching them how to do things. And he grew up as a kid doing it. So I don't know. I'm kind of stuck there, but
You would have a lot of Swifties be sad if is it Jason or Travis? I can never remember.
Travis.
Travis got brain damage. Yep. So how do you fit sports into your family time? Is this a roundtable thing? Do your kids watch it with you, or do you just kind of sneak it on the side?
Yeah, it's a good question. Football has been a tough one to get ingrained into the family
Yep.
fabric. I don't have that one in there, especially with girls. They know my teams. They know who I like. I can get a few minutes of just checking out what's going on in the game and looking at the score. And my girls are, learning to read and starting to understand numbers and what's bigger and what's not. So I'll, quiz them, have them tell me who's winning and is dad's team up or are we down? And so I get a few minutes on football. I try and bring sports to them though, in a way of whatever they're playing is kind of what I will watch a little more of. Both of my girls are into soccer. I've gotten them into watching the women's national team, which is really fun. So it's a way for me to still get some sports, but get them interested in it. They both love to swim. So when it's Olympic time, that's like their favorite thing to watch is Olympic swimming. Winter Olympics are coming up. They haven't done much skiing, but there are some sports in there that they've seen before. So yeah, I do, the theme that you're hearing here is I try not to isolate myself and just ditch the family and watch something on my own. I try and bring it to them and make it fun for them so that we can enjoy it together.
You have them pick a team, and if they win, you can smoke meats that they like, and if you win, kind of incentivize it. And
Yeah, there you go. Yep.
what traditions are you trying to pass down, if anything? Rivalry games, tailgates, jerseys, certain foods. What would you want your daughters to pick up?
I think it's the camaraderie factor of it all. And I think it's also learning to win and learning to lose. I think there's a lot to be said for that with maturing. It's one thing if you're the one playing, and that's a whole nother set of emotions. If you're the one competing that wins or loses and learning to handle that the right way in both scenarios. But also believing in a team, watching a team, having fun with the team, and learning that you got to stay passionate about it and stay behind them, whether your team is the best or is the worst, and not just choosing a different team because they're the good one for that given season.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of lesson in that. That's what I want my kids to take away from that. And I think you'll learn that there's fun in that roller coaster at times. I feel like all the teams I like, with the Buckeyes as an exception, most of the teams I care about are way on the down much more than they're on their way. But the Buckeyes level it out for me because they're an exception to that.
Whether they're the best, the worst, or the Steelers.
all right. So just for that sign, that's a wrap. All right. Thank you for joining us on the Wired Garage. If you picked up a new idea for your next Traeger cook or your next garage workout, or maybe even your next game day, do one thing for us. Share this episode with another dad who'd appreciate it. Make sure you're following the show on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss the next pit stop in the garage. Thanks, everyone, and see you again soon.
Cheers.